Hello, everybody. This is Frederick L. Jones, founder and publisher of Saturday AM, and with the March Art Madness Round 5, final round of our month-long tournament dedicated to finding the ultimate artist, the ultimate fan artist, and the potential and the winner of a brand new Apple iPad Pro. This is really an extraordinary event. We're just incredibly proud of the work that has gone into this event, the participants of this event from literally all corners of the world, from our first sponsor, who has really just been incredibly supportive and helpful in helping us establish this as a sort of premier event that we want it to be. And to all of you who have watched these videos simply to see brand new creators, to be able to support our efforts in diversity, and to witness just brand new voices in the world of graphic fiction and graphic design. So just want to say again, this has been an extraordinary event. This is the final round. This is it, Art Madness 2017, and I want to tell you a little bit about Saturday AM and a little bit about the actual history of this competition. Now, Saturday AM is a digitally diverse shonen manga anthology, and I'll scroll here to the top of the webpage. You can see here that we feature so these are some of our top series. There's a variety of art styles and creators literally from all over the world. 4 of our most popular series are Bully Eater by an African-American creator named Raymond Brown. Features a character who basically has to take on superpowered bullies, and he is just a really skilled teenager in martial arts and someone who really believes in doing the right thing. We have Saigami, which is an incredible series that features a female protagonist named Ayumi, who is trapped in this fantasy land with dragons and magic and elemental powers, and 2 very handsome young men that she finds herself kind of in the middle of, and she is in training to become a Saigami. This series is by a Hungarian creator named Andrea Boros, and it has been with us for quite a while, and it's just a really great blend of shoujo and shonen. Next up is Clock Striker, with one of Shonen Manga's very first series that stars, doesn't have a sidekick or have as a background player, but stars and female protagonist. Her name is Cast, and in this world she wishes to be a smith, which is a elite order of problem solvers who are part engineer, part kick-ass warrior. Cast wants to be one of those, but they don't really have a lot of places for women and or people of color. But she's going to shatter that glass ceiling, and in the process has some really amazing adventures in the process. She is a striker, which is an apprentice. Therefore, she is the clock striker, because her mentor is a very mysterious, very cool, and very unconventional smith named Philomena Clock, hence why she's called Clock Striker. So this is a really incredibly popular series, and it does a great job of giving people fun with science and math, and of course a really cool diversity character. And last but not least is our biggest series, Apple Black, by a Nigerian creator named Dunze Agogo, aka White Manga. You guys know him from YouTube. He is literally one of the finest artists on the planet. And Apple Black, a series about a young sorcerer who's on a quest to discover exactly what's going on in his world, and some conspiracy that involved his father. This very powerful sorcerer is able to uncover the conspiracy and deal with some of these threats that are against him and against his world, with a group of really cool and kick-ass friends. Apple Black is a series that is an extremely popular series, and we publish a ton of series, but these 4 are some of our core series and have helped us establish a diverse digital shonen manga anthology. Our digital magazine comes out every 2 weeks, and so that's why we are now about to hit issue 65, if you can believe it or not, issue 65. And I'm going to show you at the end of this episode, end of today's video, I'll show you a sneak peek of issue 65 that should come out tomorrow. So again, this is what Saturday AM is. We are a diverse group of creators from all over the world. We feature artists from the Philippines, from Australia, from Africa, from Latin America and Europe, and of course all over the US. And we're extremely proud of what we've brought to the table in the conversation regarding comics, manga, and anime. I continue to believe that if Hollywood, it must be diverse, and people feel as if Hollywood is somehow whitewashing things, and they certainly have done their part, then I feel, damn it, the same thing should happen to the video game industry, to the anime industry, to manga, and everything else. Diversity is an amazing thing, and when we execute it, we create brand new visions that are worthwhile for everybody. So that is Saturday AM, and in the process of our commitment to diversity, we created this idea called March Art Madness last year. 2016 is when we officially launched the competition. And the basic idea was to pivot off of a big thing that happens in America called March Madness, where you take all of the top teams in college basketball and they compete against each other in a single elimination tournament throughout the month of March, eventually culminating in the winner of the competition. And we decided to do the same thing last year with artists. We gave away $50 for the grand prize, and we received over 40 artists who want to participate in the event. They battled it out week upon week, and we eventually settled on a winner, a young man named Miles O'Brien, and he produced some really stunning artwork throughout the competition and walked away with $50. But it was such a fun event. It created such a really exciting level of competition that this year we decided to really blow out the doors, make it a 64-person artist squad, 64 different artists competing against each other from around the world. And the grand prize this time was not just money, but was a brand new Apple iPad Pro plus Apple Pencil. We were able to accomplish all of this thanks to an amazing sponsor we have called Plask. Is the award-winning app developer for a suite of comics creation software. You see here Comic Life, which you can get on your Mac, on your Windows, on your iPhone, and on your iPad. And I personally use the Comic Life to letter many of the comics that we post on Saturday AM, including Clock Striker. The level of fidelity and professionalism in terms of the software, the mobility of being able to have it on any sort of platform, whether it's your smartphone, your tablet, where you can take it with you on the road, it's extraordinary. I've had nothing but great things to say about Comic Life, and I was really overjoyed that Plask wished to be a part of what we were doing at Saturday AM, promoting our products, and as well providing us with this amazing platform to be able to give away a brand new Apple iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil to the winner of this year's competition. But that's not all. Hundreds of dollars worth of software they're willing to give us, and we've been giving that away. We'll be continuing to give that away to readers and followers and fans and participants and/or March Art Madness. Comic Life, you can get that on your PC or Mac for around $29.99, and if you already have a version, you can upgrade for $14.99. But the best part, folks, is that I use the software on my iPad and iPhone, and the app is just $4.99. One of the reasons that Plask decided to support us was that they had a brand new product called Comic Draw. Now, whereas Comic Life is an application where you can import really high-res comic pages and letter them in a professional format, Comic Draw is the ultimate application because this is only on iPad, no iPhone, no PC, no Mac, and this actually gives you the ability to create your comics from scratch on iPad. Have an Apple Pencil, draw the comic. With a perspective guide, you can frame the action, make sure you're presenting it in the best possible way there. You can import your comic script, you can letter it, you can ink it, you can color it, and you can even distribute it. This is one hell of an application, folks. If you love Adobe Photoshop is great. If you love Manga Studio is great. But for $20 and a free trial with Comic Draw, you simply cannot beat this amazing application that is native on your iPad. Works on your iPad mini, works on your iPad, works on your iPad Pro. If you haven't had a chance to check out this app, please do us a favor. Go check out Plask at PLASQ.com and check out the incredible suite of comic creation software they have. They have been an amazing partner of us. They are a partner to independent, semi-pro, and professional comic creators. We have a ton of things on our website. you can check out, such as videos on how to use their application from no one other than White Manga, as well as interviews and articles being written by myself and Stephen Alcade, where we actually interview professional artists who use Comic Life and Comic Draw. So take it from us, if you haven't had a chance to check out great software that you can use at an affordable price to create your comics, this is why we partner with Plask, so that we could not only have a great partner to give you guys this exciting tournament, but to also be able to have a great partner that we can share with you that you can use to make your comics that much better. Plask, PLASQ.com. Check out Comic Draw and check out Comic Life, either for your Mac, your Windows, PC, iPhone, and or iPad. So again, March Art Madness. This tournament was huge. We had well over 150 people who wanted to participate in the tournament from all corners of the world. And once we got into it, we had to actually pare the list down from 150 down to 64. We had a couple of alternates, and when we finally launched it, because of course not everyone, when you're dealing with amateurs and you're dealing with creators from all over the world, everything doesn't always work out the best way possible. We certainly hope to continue to improve on the tournament, just like we did this year from last year. But unfortunately, when we launched with 64, not all the 64 people came to the party the right way, and so we actually officially launched with about 58 artists. We're still extremely proud of this. This is a huge growth from where we were last year, and at the same time, this meant even more amazing artwork for you to look at. We went through the first round beginning the week of February 27th, and what we did was we had everyone split up into teams. So what you can see here is just a bevy of the artwork that existed. You can see round one here, Team Bully Eater. From round one, Apple Black. Here's all the artwork from round one, Clock Striker. And this is all the artwork from round one, Team Saigami. Now, what we did was we paired up artists randomly with other artists, and basically we have a voting structure that was very simple. And I want to make sure I explain this, everyone, as we talk about the ultimate winner of round 5 tonight. What we did in setting up this process is that we didn't want this to be just a popularity contest. Popularity contests never work out for anyone. No major competition that you will see, such as The Voice, if you live in America, or American Idol, or some type of idol program, X Factor, if you live overseas, none of these programs operate solely on popularity, because there are so many ways to rig that system. And at the end of the day, talent is not something that is just measured on popularity. So we went about a process that we're very proud of, a process that is exceptionally fair, that took into account everything that we did last year, everything we've done in running Saturday AM for over 65 issues and producing 4 graphic novels. We took all the learnings that we had from that, including our own backgrounds and my corporate background. We put together something we feel very proud of, which was that we wanted to look at the popular vote, obviously. We wanted to look at the social media impact of these creators and the pieces that they delivered. And we wanted to look at our own critical view of these things. We wanted to award people for getting their work in on time. We wanted to penalize people who got their work in late. So in this process, what we wanted to do was be able to not only support the best talent, the most creative vision, we wanted to be able to support the individuals who follow the rules, tournament, and respect the process. Creators like that are not just great creators for this tournament, but we hope this tournament does is inspire these same creators to be the best type of creators that can ultimately be the best type of comic book professional. So again, very, very excited. We were very pumped about the process. We had such turnout, and so with that, we wanted to make sure that as the process went on, as the project went on, that we did everything in our power to incentivize and make the process as fair as possible. Sorry about that. So that's the that was I'm trying to basically set things up so I can make sure I can respond. So So we have a live chat going on with the room, and I will take a break here in a minute. And any questions that pop up there, I'll be happy to address those. But tonight, we're going to reveal the winner of this Ultimate Fan Contest. We're going to talk about who will be winning the Apple iPad Pro. We're going to talk about other prizes we'll be giving away. And ultimately and lastly, we're going to be talking about pulling together the next step that we'll be doing at Saturday AM that involves amateur creators, something we call Summer of Manga. And then finally, we'll reveal to people a sneak peek of issue 65 of Saturday AM. So with that being said, let's get into it. You see here again, we had an amazing round one. And what we did with each round, for each team, they had different themes. The theme for Saigami round one was superheroes. The theme for Clock Striker round one was video games. The theme for Apple Black round one was TV shows, animated or live action. And the theme for Bully Eater round one was manga. And these would alternate. We have different things like comic strips thrown in there. But ultimately, over 4 rounds, we participated with this sort of opportunity. And we threw a curveball week 3, where we actually then had folks being able to compete with NCAA March Madness, the very thing that we named our event after. We then took that to the hill. You can see here some of the amazing artwork that basically allowed the artists to depict things, frankly, that most of them weren't that familiar with or comfortable with, which was mascots from these major American colleges participating in the tournament. These were all teams that were in the tournament. These were their mascots. And if the artists picked the right team that won in that first week of the NCAA March Madness, they actually got extra points given to them. So you can see here that we had some amazing artwork from Maryland, Terrapins, The Turtle by Jamari Lawson, Thalia Gonzalez, Notre Dame. These are some of my favorite pieces. One of my favorite artists at tournament, Guillermo Andazola and his Miami Hurricanes piece. Bailey Buttel, one of our finalists today, had Louisville. This was an amazing tournament. In fact, it was such an amazing round that we actually did not get the 8 people that we needed. We actually were stuck with 10 because there was a literal tie. So with that 10, we then went to round 4, and round 4 split up the action over Naruto, Power Rangers, 2 groups of 5, 1 theme for each group. And so you had 5 artists doing their interpretations of Naruto and 5 artists doing their interpretations of Power Rangers. With that, we got our final 4, and we're going to talk about those final 4 right now. Remember, folks, this is all for an Apple iPad Pro. This is about a $1,000 machine, by the way, folks. You're talking about really amazing computing power. I've actually got one. You can see some of the videos, of course, with White Manga demonstrating how to use the iPad Pro with Comic Draw from our sponsor, Plask. This is an amazing piece of hardware, super thin, super fast, super responsive. Pencil, which is extraordinary. It's again, you got to watch the videos that White has. You can find them on our website. You can go to White Manga TV on YouTube. But please watch the videos of Comic Draw that White's done. Really extraordinary stuff here. The iPad's amazing. So whoever gets it is going to love it. We're going to be singing it to them. We're going to talk about that as well here shortly, because there's going to be a special surprise we're going to reveal about the iPad Pro and about the winner of that iPad Pro. But we went through this entire competition. We had 4 artists left. March Madness came down to the final 4. Those final 4 were Megumi Talent of the Philippines, Michelle Massa-Rolo of the United States by way of Japan, William Puker from Sweden, and Bailey Buttel from Australia. Now, what I want to do right now is I want to walk you guys through how these guys got to the 5th round. I'm going to start first with Team Clock Strikers, William Puker. William Puker really debuted on the scene in round 1. Remember, this was a video game environment that he had to pursue here for the first round. So William Puker came in with this very first round here, and he showed us Western-style artwork. First of all, fantastic colors. This is, of course, Black Flag version of Assassin's Creed. Really great colors here. You've got the speed lines in the background, which are not obnoxious. It's got a really good piece of lighting here. It was a really strong piece. It wasn't mind-blowing. It wasn't perfect, but it was a really strong piece. You got great character design. You've got a great use of character design. Just a really strong, dynamic, in-your-face piece, and that allowed him to start the tournament immediately in the right way. Let's see. Of course, I would go in the wrong direction there. But next up, he did because we had a lopsided tournament. William was not able to participate in the second week because we had to basically have him sit out a week. So William then came in with UNC Chapel Hill, my alma mater, in round 3, and he delivered. He was off a week, so you would think that actually would kind of slow him down with the momentum. But no, he took the mascot he was given, he delivered it, creating not just the look of the mascot, but bringing his own style to it. It was bold, it was big, the colors were really strong. This piece did so well, I got to tell you, that we actually had people using this, because UNC right now is in the final of the very same NCAA March Madness tournament we were talking about earlier. UNC is in the final game. They're playing for the championship. So this piece that William did is actually being shared with people on social media. I've seen it. I saw someone the other day using it when UNC won the semifinal game. Strong piece. The colors really pop with it. Again, not perfect. There's some slight issues when you look at it. It seems kind of stiff. Always, his pieces have always had a bit of a stiffness to it. But regardless, this piece was really strong. We continued that into round 4, which was our round to get to the Final Four. And this round, he was in the group that had to produce Power Rangers. One of the things that really helped William is that, unlike many of the other artists in the group, he chose the more recent version of Power Rangers, which of course is in the major feature film out right now. This had some great color work. I personally found another finalist version of the Power Rangers, the Brainy Power Rangers, to be far better than William's piece. But there's no denying that what William did here, he chose the right sort of image that would be resonant with a lot of the fans for his popular vote section of the tournament. He chose an image. He chose the image in a way that actually demonstrated some of the other Power Ranger characters. So you got all the characters in there. His coloring work was really superb because, again, if you're going to have Power Rangers, you got to show off the colors of the Power Rangers. And he did this in a way that really came across in a dynamic, fun, and action-packed way. It's a strong piece. Not my favorite piece the way it was done, but it was a strong piece. And it enabled him, again, with popular vote and enough of the critical vote and social media vote, it allowed him to push on to the final. And Williams' piece in the final was no joke, because what he delivered in the final round 5 piece, the theme was conflict. He chose to bring us Link from Legend of Zelda with Samurai Jack from the relaunched Samurai Jack Season 5. And you can see here again that there's a dynamism to it. It's not it's still got some levels of stiffness to it, but there's a power in some of the simplistic things that William does. And each thing he does, no matter how kind of static it is, there's still an energy and vitality there, both in terms of the color, some of the posing. And in this case, for me, what really stood out with this piece was not just a merger of 2 separate IP that have different aesthetics. The aesthetic of Link and with Zelda, we've seen that done in different ways. We've seen the cartoony version, we've seen the more realistic version, but he took 2 different aesthetics here and we're still able to merge them together. Not perfect, none of the pictures are perfect, but this was an image that had a lot of dynamism to it, taking 2 very popular and relevant things currently in pop culture, smashing them together in a piece that seems flawless. Legend of Zelda Link meets Samurai Jack. There's so many things here that I really liked. I love the color. I love the face of Jack. Just the face of Jack alone for me is better than a lot of artwork we saw in the entire tournament. Just his face, the seriousness of the look that Jack has, the merging of art styles, again, with the kind of realistic style that you have from Link that comes from a variety of artists in Japan, to Jindy Tarkovsky, the artist and creator of Samurai Jack, capturing his look, even though he's got a very distinct art style, and being able to pull it into Williams' own personal, more kind of Western and bulky sort of style he has. That look in the face of Samurai Jack, for me, is one of the best looking artistic triumphs in this entire tournament. Just the face, the blood, the color of the blood, the way the blood carefully comes down his face. There's so many little details here. They're just so well done that I can't I can't praise about it enough. Not to mention with Legend of Zelda, with Link, you see just that bow and arrow he's got. Just the detail in pieces of the bow and arrow, the armature pieces that sit to it, the accents that sit at the end of the bow itself, and the end of the arrow, the actual piece of the arrow that's being flung. So many small pieces are depicted here by William that you have to be able to look at this and say, this is truly a fantastic artist. Again, not saying this is absolved of criticism, it certainly is there. There's certainly still, in my view, when I look at William's work, a stiffness that exists in some of the aspects of his work. But the coloring work here was superb. The choice of content was really fantastic. The merger of the two art styles was a high level of skill. The level of detail that he went into in every single facet is masterful. This was a fantastic piece from William. Truly a deserving figure to make it to round 5 and to be considered to win the iPad Pro. Next up, we're going to switch over a bit and go with one of our female creators. 2 men, 2 women, by the way. Michelle Massa-Rolo. Michelle Massa-Rolo, we have been a big fan of her work for some time. Michelle Massa-Rolo is literally one of the most extraordinarily talented, naturally gifted artists we have ever seen since we launched Saturday AM, and I do not say that lightly. There's very few things that Michelle can do. We have seen this throughout the tournament. Every one of Michelle's pieces are dramatically different from the other. If we look at this Doctor Strange piece, which was her round 1 piece, you can see here that not only did she choose to take a very sort of poster, very artistic view of this in terms of giving us a very big and bold image of Strange himself at a close-up angle, showing us the magic seals he's able to form with his hand, but she even then segues that into a piece, giving us a bit of background exposure to the Ancient One as depicted in the film. There's no question this is a manga-style version of Doctor Strange, because that's the youngest old Doctor Strange I've ever seen in my life. But again, of craft being delivered here, the level of skill to be able to depict such a prominent image of the Doctor and still have room for an Ancient One and have a piece with so much going on with the magic and so forth is extraordinary. Literally, Michelle is one of the finest artists we've ever had the pleasure of working with and or seeing within Saturday AM. She followed that piece up with, it's actually round 3. I'm sure there we go. I know what happened, folks, but there you go. That's how it works. So anyway, round 2 was Tokyo Ghoul. Now, Tokyo Ghoul was one of her most popular pieces of work that she does. She's done Tokyo Ghoul stuff in the past in her own life, in her own commission work that she does, in her own artistic work that she does. She's a big fan of this property. I can honestly say that I'm not. So while I love Michelle's artwork, I've never been a huge fan of Tokyo Ghoul. But there's no question that once again, with this piece, you see a real artist. You see a real artist here. Someone who can blend so many different techniques to create something that's truly special. With this, once again, we get a artistic vision of the series. We get a massive central image of Ken, I'm gonna butcher his name, Ken Kanuki, I think, or Ken, something like that. But anyway, you get the main character there in his ghoul state, but then you get the cast of characters who make up his world, both his human Link as well as his part ghoul Link, and you see it depicted here with characterization in each image. So each element here, if you don't know the series, you can't look at this piece and first of all not just be impressed at the absolute gorgeousness of the colors, the sheer design work of it, the way she layers in the other characters. You can't help but look at that and not love the artistry of it. But at the same time, you can't look at this and not get a sense of each character on display. Every character here gives you a piece of the story of what Tokyo Ghoul is. That's powerful art, folks. That is truly powerful artwork. Round 3 was where I think Michelle dipped big time, because she obviously is not very comfortable with non-manga concepts, and so this was the NCAA round. With this, she delivered Kansas Jayhawks, I'm a big fan of Kansas Jayhawks. They're a massive athletic program in the United States, and so their Jayhawk looks just like this. She nailed exactly it. She didn't really bring that amazing artistry that she has to the table. So this, to me, was a big miss, and it was probably one of her lowest votes that she's ever gotten in the tournament, was this piece. She lost a lot of momentum with this. But one thing that you can say about this is that clearly Michelle's an amazing artist, because this looks as good as anything that you would buy if you were in Kansas and went to the local university there and wanted to buy some Kansas paraphernalia. This looks as good as anything they would have. This looks on par with anything they would do. The mascot looks like the mascot you would see. So there was no interpretation here. She presented it accurately, and she presented it with colors that are really, really strong. This is great, strong color work going on here. So again, one of the things I think that really saved Michelle to advance in the round, there were some things that she got lucky on, but without question, just Michelle's sheer and complete control of art meant that she could even take a substandard piece like this with a very uninspired take on it, color and perspective that demonstrates just how masterful she is at her craft. Round 4 was a return to form for Michelle. She delivered Naruto meets Boruto. This is just one of the best pieces of Naruto fan art you'll ever see. This came out about the same time that the final episode of Naruto hit, so there was a lot of emotion in the pieces. I mean, you can see this is a piece of father to son. This is a piece of kind of the passing of the torch of the Rasengan. You can see the ground cracking. You see the Japanese. I believe that's I don't know, katakana or hiragana. It's been a while since I've taken it, but you can see here a real artistful back to basics approach from Michelle, and it shows. This is a really stunning piece, a fantastic piece, and just a fantastic piece. One of the things I like about this piece more than anything for Michelle is that it gave her a chance for anyone who did not think that Michelle was bringing it off her A game to her, was sticking to her comfort level too much. It showed that no, she can do full body stuff. She can present really attractive, really colorful, really atmospheric work with traditional characters, traditional colorful characters, and she can do it with full body. So this was a fantastic piece to get back to basics for Michelle and really powered her comfortably into round 5. And with round 5, she delivers this image. Once again, going back to Tokyo Ghoul, this is supposed to be conflict. And so what we see here is a very interpretive version of conflict. Instead of being literal conflict of them going up against something, we see here the characters, some of the main characters of Tokyo Ghoul, and them struggling with the themes of Tokyo Ghoul: human versus ghoul, morality versus justice. This is really, again, if you do not know Tokyo Ghoul, and it's one of the more popular works out there. It's niche. This is not Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or One Piece. This is niche, but it's very popular niche. And so if you don't know Tokyo Ghoul, this gorgeous, big banner-style piece delivers on the promise of of the conflict theme that we talked about, and with the power and themes and dichotomies that run within the actual manga Tokyo Ghoul. This is a really beautiful piece. Once again, giving us artistry in spades. We're not saying per se full body work on the characters, but every aspect of the characters are fully realized. Every character here is displaying a level of emotion and personality in literally everything they do. The complaints here, to be sure, of course, obviously Tokyo Ghoul again is an acquired taste as a manga. So from a standpoint of being able to get on board with people who are looking to see her amazing art style in something more mainstream, this ain't it. But I've heard able to see her amazing artwork depicting a theme and depicting it in a really successful way. This was it, and I think she did a fantastic job with that. So Tokyo Ghoul, round 5 art from Michelle Massa-Rolo. Continuing on with female protagonists, let's go to Megumi Talent of the Philippines. Now Megumi is really, to me, one of the more dynamic artists in the entire tournament. I think like Michelle and like William, you can see why she was able to advance. You know, every artist here has some elements that they really are in control of masterfully. And in the case of Megumi, just like with Michelle, just like with William, what she's able to do here, and you'll see this, is she has a fantastic control of color, atmosphere, character design, and placement. She's able to really find and handle all of those pieces. She can have really complex imagery, either as part of the overall design or as part of the actual costume itself. And Michelle Megumi, I mean, really delivers at that level. So we see here, this is one of the best looking. I'm not a fan of Deadpool, folks. This is one of the best looking Deadpools I've ever seen. Fantastic art. Fantastic artistry. We see a bit of the kind of Japanese aspects that are not part of Deadpool, but yet we see he's got his katana, he's got some shuriken. There's a scroll a la Naruto and many other Japanese / manga tropes. But it's just a powerful image. It would be right at home with Marvel Comics. In fact, I'm surprised that Megumi doesn't work for Marvel Comics. It's big, it's bold, it's still got a level of artistry to it because it's merging all these different concepts and doing it in a way that feels complete and subtle and powerful. It's a great image. It doesn't capture the zaniness of Deadpool as much, although there's a hint to that with the bandana, the headpiece. But again, really strong piece. This is how she started the tournament. Was Full Metal Alchemist. This was exceptional. We can see here, this is Ed, this is Al. In fact, you can say here there's some artistry here. One of the challenges with this piece, I think, that does, you know, when you look at it, you kind of go, something's not right here, is that the way she chose to depict Ed standing, we know that Ed is very short if you know the work. Then having Alphonse behind him, it does make it seem as if he's standing shoulder to shoulder to Alphonse, which is certainly not something that would happen unless he's standing on a gigantic box. Artistic thing she did here, because I don't believe that's meant to suggest that. I think it's meant to suggest that Alphonse, this is just kind of like Alphonse in the background, kind of like Michelle Massa-Rolo plays with different perspectives of different characters, pulling them in and out of frame. I think the same thing going on here with Alphonse. But what impressed in this image was the fact that she's got lightning. I mean, she's got the alchemy, electricity going off, and that's in turn causing a level of lighting works and lighting effects to occur both on Ed, his skin, his cloth, as well as the armor of Alphonse. And that's the level of coloring is extraordinary. It's extraordinary. So this is really, really strong work once again from Megumi Talent. This was such a strong piece. Again, it powered her right into round 3, where we had, of course, this then got screwed up. Into round 3, where she then did she chose Rhode Island Rams. In fact, the worst thing she did here was choose Rhode Island Rams. No one chose Rhode Island Rams, although they did win. So she did get some extra votes from that. But this is a Ram very similar to the UNC Chapel Hill Ram that William Puker did. And she took a different approach here. She went with that kind of Obama hope poster. So she went with a kind of strong red and blue theme. So again, she struck a chord here, going after artistry, which is always a hard thing to do. She decided to go that route rather than doing something straight on, and it gave the piece some vitality. It wasn't the strongest piece that she's done. It wasn't the strongest vote totals that she got in any rounds that she participated in, but this was a really interesting piece. And the fact that she, again, has such ability to be able to depict things in a Western context and still maintain, I'm sure, some of her manga influences that she has, really is quite impressive. And so this is one of her weakest pieces, and even then, one of her weakest pieces is better than some of the many strongest pieces from artists that do not have quite the level of skill that Megumi has. Her color work is fully on display here, as is her figure work, and the fact that she's got such strong figure work and such strong color work saves this piece, which is, for the most part, you know, kind of boring, but she's able to save that with amazing works. She went into round 4 doing Power Rangers, and this was the best Power Rangers image, in my opinion. The color here is much stronger than William Puker's piece. She chose the newer Power Rangers yet again. There's some things here, as I said in the video at the time, that are worthy of criticism. The Black Ranger just disappears in the background back there. His legs should pop up somewhere about back there behind the Pink Ranger. This is not an artistic vision. These characters are all clearly standing near each other. It's a fantastic action pose, but the fact, again, that some of the characters' body parts just disappear is more of a slight than an actual artistic accomplishment. That being said, the color work here is extraordinary. I mean, literally, the color work here is gorgeous. This is really, really high level color stuff. The way that she's got the scope being put onto the power energy that is part of each of these guys in the center. She went with a effect and then an artistic way to invoke that in the entire piece, something William Puker didn't do. And so this piece was so much stronger than Williams' piece. And this really, really demonstrated yet again that Megumi is really masterful at putting these pieces together. She wrapped it all up with a Overwatch, the video game. If you guys have seen the video game Overwatch, which is really popular, she did that, matching it up against Metal Gear Solid, 2 nano ninjas, if you will, nano-powered machine ninjas. And this is her round 5 piece, giving us conflict. One video game character versus another, very similar to William Puker aligning 2 separate franchises together. She does it once again perfectly. In fact, one of the things here, one of the things here about this piece that stands out is that she went with a slightly different aesthetic here. So there are some things, of course, that don't quite work. Some of the camera angles, the stance of these guys is fantastic, but yet the stance also seems a bit off in terms of how far their legs and stuff are. Now, some of that you can argue that, hey, these are not real people. These are cybernetic people. These are half robotic people. So therefore, some of the anatomy here could work, because who knows what these guys do. But the fact that she went with kind of a painted backdrop for the actual ground, as opposed to everything else she's done with us, which has been more pencil and ink sketch. This then gave it a little slightly weird feel to it. There was some weirdness going on because the character work is so on note, so specific, so crystal clear what it is, and then the ground is kind of just painted, and it's obviously not meant to be. So she obviously didn't consider this to be as important of a depiction as the actual action going on. We see the character from Overwatch summoning a Japanese sort of dragon, and then we see Raiden from Metal Gear Solid pulling out his energy sword. Again, very visceral, very powerful. You feel the action and tension going on here. Definitely some misses, in my opinion, in terms of the mixture of media that she apparently did with the painted backdrop at the bottom, and then some of the camera angle here, as dynamic as it is. So there's something missing here regarding just the way the characters are posed and the way their bodies. Just, there doesn't seem to be something very natural with the way Raiden, for example, is turned and is ready to fight the character from Overwatch. And the character from Overwatch has a really wide stance. And again, as she pencil drawn that bottom, perhaps it would make sense why his feet seem so far apart. You'd see exactly how it sits on the ground, and maybe the ground would support that. But instead, this painted background, it just looks just an awkward picture. It almost like he was just kind of this background, because it doesn't seem to match the environment very well in comparison to Raiden. So, but this is our 5th piece, a very strong piece. Color work, once again, very strong. The armors have lighting effects going on with them based on what's happening around them. You can see the red tint to what Raiden has on as armor. You can see some of the green tint to the, I believe it's meant to be kind of whitish, white or light bluish armor that the ninja character from Overwatch has. So once again, a really, really strong piece. And you can see here that Megumi's amazing command of things, even some of her weaker pieces, really demonstrates why she's such a successful, such a strong artist throughout the tournament. Last up is Bailey Bhutto. Now, Bailey is interesting because Bailey is one of these artists that I really love seeing in the tournament, because what Bailey represents is someone who literally goes from strength to strength. He goes from strength to strength. You're going to see this here. Strength to strength. Now, this Batman piece here is really quite extraordinary. This is Batman jumping down on some criminals. This is our first round. So Bailey didn't know what to expect of us. I don't know how old Bailey is, but Bailey didn't know what to expect. He didn't know the sort of competition he was going to go up against. So he delivered a piece that was really strong. It showed a lot of perspective. A fantastic perspective. It's not perfect, of course. Some of the artwork of the 2 bad guys at the bottom here looks a little stiff. Batman looks a little stiff. There's not a lot of velocity happening here, but still, the perspective alone was really great. And you'll see, I'm about to say here in a minute, you'll see why this was important to me. You can see when you really study the work here, because keep in mind it's raining, so there's some rain effects happening off of the thugs at the bottom there, including off the gun there in the very bottom right of the frame. But you can see here, his style is pretty distinctive. He's got a very kind of scratchy, heavy line work style, unlike many of the other artists that we saw. That's what Bailey has. William Puker has a heavy style, but his is a very complete heavy style. It's not scratchy at all. He just goes for heavy lines. But Bailey goes for heavy lines across the spectrum. He's got a lot of cross hatching going on at times, and so you can see that. And there's a reason why that was important for me to realize, because what Bailey does as he went on from round to round was he really stayed with that aspect of his work. And when you look at his work, it is so dramatically different. Bailey literally became a better artist every single round. So much so that honestly, I had to go back and look at each picture because I was like, wait a minute, I got to study this, because I wouldn't be so, like, I'm beginning to think this kid is actually maybe hiring someone to do his art for him, because it was so different. This piece right here, which literally beat what we thought was going to be one of the most successful artists in the tournament, a young man named Robert Burnham's. Robert Burnham's, and the piece of Robert Burnham's turned in was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal piece, yet Bailey just destroyed him with this piece here featuring Karapika from Hunter x Hunter. And you can see here, there's so many things going on here that make this. First of all, there is the Michelle Massa-Rolo effect, where you've got several headshots being merged in with each other with a prominent central image that is divorced from that, and yet still looks incredibly good. Still looks incredibly good. You see the characterizations of the characters here. I'm looking at characters because I've followed Hunter x Hunter some years ago. I hadn't really paid much attention to it. I can't tell you how all the characters are, but when I saw this piece, I immediately started remembering some of these characters, because he so captured the personality of the characters, from Hisoka to the character that you can't see their face. I remember this stuff from the manga. And Karapika, of course, with the tour de force element of this pick is that Bailey chose to give Karapika this really heroic moment. Not only is he holding the jar that has the red eyes to represent his backstory, but we then see the chain, his special nin power, is actually coming from his fingers and shooting towards the reader. And all of this is all subtly and masterfully displayed. This was so much better than his first piece that, again, it literally shocked that he destroyed Robert Burnham's. Robert Burnham's piece was phenomenal, and this piece was just light years beyond that Batman piece. For round three, I think this is where Bailey really kind of stepped up and made it clear that he was going to be a force in this tournament. He took on the Louisville Cardinal, which is the mascot for a very popular college basketball college team. And the Louisville Cardinal is not an easy character, much like the Kansas Jayhawk. Not an easy character to pull off. And so where Michelle struggled a little bit with her depiction of the Kansas Jayhawk, because it's just a bird, Bailey took it on big time. I mean, this is a scary piece. This is a thrilling piece. This is an exciting piece. This is an artistic piece. This is a masterful piece of fan art. This is a masterful piece of fan art. Literally a masterful piece of fan art. I mean, just period. You can't make it up. And, you know, the thing with Bailey is that Bailey got this piece, docked points. He got it in late, and yet able to ensure popular vote, as well as all the other metrics we have. Because, again, as we will talk about regarding the voting stage here, many artists seem to have people coming out the woodwork to vote for them in ways that were inappropriate, and we just count those votes. So Bailey, though, because we do look at other metrics to keep things fair and to save artists from themselves, Bailey still was able to, even coming late, even having some people vote for him inappropriately, still was able to salvage a win with this because the piece was so extraordinarily good. I just want to turn your attention to the ball. The ball is on flame, which is just a really smart, clever idea. But not just the ball is on flame, but you can see the divots. You can see the pattern of the leather in the flame basketball. That's masterful stuff, guys. That is really, really masterful stuff. This was a mega piece of art. So let's see here. Make sure I've got everything in. Yep. Okay. So round 3 was that. Now round 4 was Naruto. And what Bailey chose to do was represent Boruto, Naruto's son. He gave it a beautiful, painted, really, really strong imagery. This was a great piece. Now there wasn't a lot happening in the piece, and it wasn't like you looked at this piece and thought, "Oh, hey, this is fantastic." And I would say, out of all 5 pieces of Bailey's work, this was stronger than the Batman piece, but still one of his weaker pieces because it's just a character shot. It's just a character shot. It's painted. It's got a lot of emotion in it. It's the kind of the kind of smart ass attitude that Boruto has, you know. But that's it. I mean, it's, you know, there's not any artistic things happening in the background with the lighting. It's just a straight on character shot. But the fact that Bailey can do it with paint, with acrylics, I'm not sure what he's using. The fact he can capture the attitude and emotion of Boruto just demonstrates again the masterfulness that he has. Again, not his strongest piece, but it allowed him to go fully into the final round. And this is the final round image. It's Netero versus Miriam, or I keep forget the bad guy's name, but this was from the Chimera arc, and this was one of the most climactic battles in the piece. This is gorgeous stuff. Again, you can see all the patterns that Bailey represents in his artwork with the hash lines and things like that. This is a really, really, really strong piece. This was, again, just like Michelle Massa-Rolo, this was Bailey going to the well. This is clearly something that he loves. Michelle loves Tokyo Ghoul, and she leaned on that, and Bailey loves Hunter, and he leaned on that. This is a great piece. No question, this is a great piece. It's different. We get the conflict happening here, like was the theme of the event, and we get to see here the action engaged with this climactic battle. I don't know if you don't know the work, then you don't know just how epic this battle was. This artwork will not prove that to you, but I'm not a fan of the creator of Hunter x Hunter. I'm not a fan of his character design, but even I can admit that Bailey, that in Bailey's mind and with his vision, he makes Togashi, the artist, the creator of Hunter x Hunter, he makes Togashi's character designs look really quite amazing. So this was a great piece. It had some really interesting lighting going on with it. It wasn't dramatic, but at the same time, it captured the right energy. Some of the lighting was properly illuminated in some places, although not much, because again, he was going for a more mood-centric piece here, and the lighting, I think, reflects that. And I think it was a wise choice. I don't think that this would have benefited from having accurate depictions of light. So again, a really strong piece, really amazing piece. And this was our final participant, Bailey Bhutto, from Australia. So so everyone now, I think, has seen all the stuff that we've had to look at. You guys can, I guess, attest that this is not easy. This was not easy. So what I want to do is I want to stop for a second. I know you guys want me to get to the winner, but I don't know why I would do that. I don't know why I would do that. I don't have to do that. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the chat and see if there's any questions there. Who do you guys think? Who do you guys think will win? See Bailey saying he thought about doing Overwatch, but he didn't. Megumi said she thought about doing Samurai Jack. See, people are asking these guys when they got started as artists. That's great. Bailey is suggesting that Donald Trump will attend the chat, and I'm pretty damn sure he'll be booted out if he does. Tony Aguilar is expressing some nice positive stuff here. I love seeing these live chats. Obviously, we see people who come in here and are aggressive, but I love seeing these chats because I love seeing artists give a lot of credit and appreciation to other artists. Like I said, we started this company to make this stuff be an opportunity for creators to learn from each other, to feel at home. You know, we publish all sorts of art styles And we try to sell the message that everyone belongs in creating comics. No one has there's no clique. There should not be a clique of artists that get to lord over everybody else. And we see this a lot with people that used to be in Saturday AM. They kind of all band together in a little clique and talk as if they're creating a comic or doing various things. But it's a clique. Saturday AM has always not stood for that. We stood for being an open group. We love to have women. We love to have people from different religions, different ethnicities, different nationalities, different sexual orientations. We just love the idea of having a community of people who love art, and that really is important to us. And so, like I said, when I read this stuff here and I see Al Durante and Frey Official and Drake Nichols and Jamari Lawson and Prinny Flan, when I see everyone just talking about each other's work, it in a sappy way, it makes me feel really proud, because that's what this is meant to be. It's what this whole thing's about. So, all right, so that's where we are. So now let's move on. And let's talk about how we came to the conclusion of this bad boy. This wasn't easy. I think I can read your comments, and I know that you all know that this really wasn't easy. This was really, really hard. When you're down to the final four, it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy to get to 4. And there are many artists that I think could have won and deserved to have gone further, who didn't. I mean, just didn't. But but it is what it is, and here's where we are. So let me jump into this then. Let's reveal this bad boy. So when we look at the artists here, again, what we did was we took the popular votes, and those had a certain weight to them. They weren't and aren't and can't be the definitive factor of what we look at, but they do play a role. We then add to that a total amount of votes that we pull from social media. We look at how social media behaves with it, and we assign a score to that. We have a weight placed on the votes based on our critical discovery. And then last but not least, we have a vote total that comes from some special bonuses that we gave to people who got their work in on time. So a couple of quick stats. We received 283 votes. We received 283 votes. When we went in to do our due diligence, as we do every single round, we saw that that went down to 209 qualified votes. A few votes were shedded. Now, you're going to ask, why were those votes shedded? And the answer is quite simple, really. Those votes were shedded because people were voting inappropriately. We had people who were trying to swing the vote by voting in artificial ways to try to heighten the performance of one person. We had people voting in blocks where they literally voted the same way over several votes. Like literally the vote patterns were identical in a very short span of time. So we were able to, with that and some other metrics, look and tell that this is not a true vote. So we removed quite a few votes. And yes, that did affect some people. There were 2 artists in particular that clearly had people trying to vote for them and trying to influence the numbers. They followed similar patterns that I just talked about. We did get rid of those votes, and those 2 artists did not realize sort of vote totals in that regard that they would have liked. Again, that doesn't really matter because we're not a popular vote group. But if you're going to try to do the popular vote and have it work in your favor, as it did Bailey Bhutto when he's got his work in late, if you're going to do that, then you got to do it the right way. If you do it and you have people voting for you in inappropriate ways, then those votes won't count, and it doesn't help you regardless. Getting lots of people out to vote for you when they don't vote properly doesn't benefit you. It actually ends up hurting you. If you look at the popular votes, these were the totals. Michelle Massa-Rolo had the least popular votes for her work. She received 478 total votes. Bailey Bhutto received he received the lowest vote, popular vote total. He was at 405. Michelle Massa-Rolo was at 478. Megumi Talent was at 560. William Puker was at 614. When we start looking bonus and penalty phases, remember, if you got your work in before noon on March 31st, you got 50 votes added to your score. If you got your work in before at 5 p.m. or any time after, you got 25 extra votes. And if you got your work in, if you got your work in afternoon, you got 25%, as long as you got in before 5. And then if you got your work in after 11:59 p.m. March 31st, so essentially on April 1st, if you got your work in April 1st, not on March 31st, then you actually lost 50 votes. So you can get as much as 50 votes if you got your work in before noon. You can get 25 extra votes if you got your work in before the cutoff time. And if you got your work in after the cutoff time, you received minus 50 votes. Michelle Massa-Rolo's work came in after the cutoff time, and as a result, she received a minus 50 for her bonus round. Bailey Bhutto got his work in, very early for Bailey. Bailey was super early, so Bailey got 50 points added to his score. Megumi Talent got 25 votes added to her score because she got her work in before 5 p.m. but after noon. And Puker got his work in also before noon. He got his work in at 9 a.m. the day before. He received 50 extra points. Going back to Michelle Massa-Rolo, we looked at, in this case, what we did was all of the creators had a weight to our scores. We judged the pieces on artistic merit. We judged the pieces on technical proficiency. We judged the pieces on effective use of various skills in a piece, and just overall mastery of the various components of art. The votes were arranged at our first place. Whoever we gave a first place to received 50 votes. Whoever we gave second place to received 25 votes. Third place, 15 votes. Fourth place, 10 votes. Everyone got a vote, basically. Everyone got a vote. In that regard, we took all of the creators. There were 5 creators who were in this particular pool. Michelle Massa-Rolo got 155 total votes. Bailey Bhutto got 150 total votes. Megumi Talent got 65 total votes. William Puker got 130 total votes from our creators. The final set of tools we looked at to determine score total was social media. We have a metric in place for social media. We compare the performance of the various entities on social media, and we assign scores based on that. It's pretty straightforward, but again, it's proprietary because this is how we do things. It's our score. But we do assign social media scores, and frankly, if you're ingenious enough, you can look and kind of get a sense of how we did it. The social media posts we make. We do this a couple of ways as well. We make sure that we're the only ones. This is why, if you guys have been following the tournament, we're the only ones who can. This is exclusive art for us. By the artist, we do not own the art, but during the tournament, it's exclusive to us, meaning that we control how it is seen, how it is viewed, and how it's accessed. And via that process, we then are able to look at accurate social media impact of these efforts. We do a variety of things to determine how the social media can best be seen. We do different things to ensure that they're all being treated fairly. And we're able to then get a score of that. It's quite ingenious, and it is proprietary. With that, Michelle Massa-Rolo's social media score was 218. Bailey Bhutto's social media score was 257. Megumi Talent's social media score was 152. William Puker's social media score was 254. So, total points for this final round tournament. Again, remember, what we're giving away here, the grand prize winner gets an Apple iPad Pro. But everyone here will be getting something for this. You'll all be getting access to the Comic Draw and or Comic Life applications. These are that you can use to perfect your own art and be able to produce content going forward. Likewise, we'll be doing a whole issue. We'll be featuring very big portfolios of each of these four creators in issue 66, which is our free comic book day issue. It'll be a gigantic issue with some of our biggest titles with it. Kicks off summer of manga. There'll be a very extensive section, interview, portfolio, and ability to advertise all of these creators so that you guys can interact with them directly. You'll be able to hopefully contact them for commissions. And we hope that these artists are all able to build on this experience with Saturday AM and March Art Madness and Plask, our sponsor of this event and makers of Comic Life and Comic Draw apps for comic creation. So with that being said, Michelle Massa-Rolo, her total score was 801. Bailey Bhutto's total score was 862. Megumi Talent's total score was 802. William Puker's total score was 1,048. William Puker is the winner of this March Art Madness for 2017. Again, to recap, Michelle Massa-Rolo, I think, did Michelle in because this piece is masterful. I think the piece is not as strong as maybe another IP. Fan art, the competition of fan art is all about strategy. Her strategy, we saw some weaknesses in that throughout the tournament with the way she portrayed the Kansas thing. And we saw here, sticking with Tokyo Ghoul, as niche as it is, was probably not the best option here because it affected her in the popular vote, affected her in the social media vote. But without question, the biggest thing that got her was the minus 50 and getting the thing in late. Bailey Bhutto certainly performed in quite a few levels. Michelle had the highest critical vote score. Bailey had the second highest critical vote score from our staff and followers. What got Bailey was two things. Bailey had the largest drop-off in popular votes. There were literally people who were voting in such just obviously screwed up ways for Bailey that he lost a good chunk of that popular vote. Furthermore, but you know, the piece was strong. I do think, sticking with Hunter x Hunter, I think the social media impact. Again, the social media impact, the way we do it is pretty straightforward. It's almost kind of like the popular vote. You know, choose something that truly is popular, and that score could have been 300, 400, 500. I mean, no one got to that because no one tried to do anything that was really significant. No one chose a property that was really out there, and I think that was probably the difference here. Was the vote, the popular vote aspect here with Bailey, and then not choosing a property that was probably more relevant today than not. I read earlier that Bailey said, had he chosen Overwatch, he wanted to choose Overwatch, probably should have chosen Overwatch. Megumi Talent, again, ranked fairly low with Michelle. She would have been last place had Michelle not gotten her work in late. Megumi would have been last. I think this was, I think everything had to do with this piece. I think the choice here was the right choice. I think the depiction of it maybe wasn't the right depiction of it. Some of the aspects and angles here were not as sharp as some of the things that Megumi had done in the past. And furthermore, I think the way that the action was depicted, particularly with the ground, it made the stances, it made the things look a bit more awkward, a bit less assured than she previously had been able to generate. And so we saw this across the board. We saw it with the popular vote, even though the popular vote was strong vote. We saw it with the critical vote, and we saw it with the social media vote. She had the lowest score in the social media category. Last but not least was William. William had the least drop off in popular votes. Everybody, Megumi, Michelle, and William suffered popular vote losses. All three of them did, some more dramatic than others. William suffered little. I mean, William suffered, I think, less than 20. So that tells you something. William's popular vote was 614, higher than anyone else's, because William simply didn't have drop off. William had people voting for him legitimately, without question. There was no kind of, I didn't see William doing a lot of things either to try to get people to vote for him. So people legitimately like what he did. Number two, this is how you know there's a disturbance in your popular vote. When your popular vote is so dramatically different from your social media vote. That was true of everybody. That wasn't true of William. William's popular vote was in sync with his social media score. People legitimately liked the piece. I wonder if it had anything to do with the fact that, look, Samurai Jack is on TV right now and it's doing very well. And Legend of Zelda just had a game come out, and Legend of Zelda, of course, is huge, the very beginning of March. It's a great piece. It's moody. It's violent. Got a lot of detail into it. It's got fantastic color work. William has turned in least strong pieces than this, but he chose wisely on this piece, and it showed. William had, and this again, just I think shows you again the way the fairness of this works. William had, outside of Megumi, had the least critical votes. William's piece, but again, that shows you that we're not in the process of choosing the winner from the staff standpoint. It has to be across the board, and in this case, you know, we chose Michelle Massa-Rolo and we chose Bailey Bhutto. William came in third in the critical vote, yet he so dominated in all of the spaces legitimately that he ended up having a score that was so much higher than everyone else's. So that is that. So Bailey, of course, came in second. We're going to be putting together a package for Bailey that'll include some free software and some other goodies. And we will certainly be making sure that software gets distributed to Michelle Massa-Rolo, Megumi Talent. Let me say again that our feeling about this competition is that this was extraordinary. This was some of the best talent we've ever seen participate in this competition. It was absolutely fantastic. So really, really awesome. This was pretty extraordinary. I'm really quite impressed. Let's see here. So we've got a ton of comments here, and I'll be willing to talk some more stuff here in a minute. So I see. Let's see here what's going on here. So So yeah, again, I hope everyone here is really excited with this stuff. Is really good. I see Drake Nichols seems to have several comments he's making here. He doesn't seem to actually understand. So Drake, you're certainly welcome to ask your question directly to me, because I'm not sure I understand why you seem to be so confused about some things here. Let's see here. There's an issue here. You're asking in relationship to whether or not I can pronounce Megumi's name right, and in the entire tournament, I've not been told I was pronouncing it wrong. So if there's something here I can pronounce correctly, please let me know. Regardless, from some of the typical sort of things happening in the chat, I'm with Roy Janasin entirely. This was an amazing. Everyone here did awesome work. Love the work everyone did here. It was fantastic. Don't think anyone, of course, should have to go in here and worry about whether or not they are going to lose their job. Of course, no one should be in that position. But it is a tournament. This is a gauntlet. The entire idea here is to kind of put everything in and to give it your best. So, not sure. Again, I don't know what Drake Nichols is getting at, but we'll make sure that we let Drake chill out on his own. So, any questions that I can answer in regards to how we put everything together? Then? Any other questions regarding the way that we did the competition? Some of the things that we'll be doing with the competition. Any questions from them? All right, so we've got, let's see here, we've got some pretty strong things we want to talk about regarding kind of next steps and the next thing that we're going to be doing with Saturday AM. And we want to hopefully take advantage of those things now. So let me start getting into some of the things that we can do, some of the things we're hoping to do. So first and foremost, really extraordinary creators participated in this competition. I want to give credit to those creators who participated in this event for this time period. Really amazing work from people like Jamari Lawson, who I think is incredibly talented. We had some really amazing stuff by Guillermo Andazola, someone that I just think is he's going to be a real superstar in the near future. I'm a huge fan of his work. So many female creators, I think, showed up in this tournament that I was really happy with. Sarah Robinson from Australia, Eli Beard, I thought it was fantastic work. We had Natalia Gonzalez, Helen Quintanilla, Martin Patino, Jared J. Lee, Tiana Hunter, Zaire Morris, Kuda Machicano, Kyron Hopkins. Again, really amazing artists. John Mendoza. Just I'm so incredibly appreciative of these really talented people who gave this thing a chance, put their best work out there. Bervik Simeon, CJ Okanuma, Jose L. Rodriguez. Really amazing work from top people. It was really kick-ass, and I'm so appreciative of the work you guys did. It was awesome. So I hope that next year, if you did not win this competition, and I wish everyone could win the competition. I wish we had lots of iPads to give out. This year, we'll make it bigger. We'll make it better. We'll have even cooler prizes, and we'll continue to try to get as much opportunity for each creator possible in the mix that we do. That's hopefully where we go with that. But again, as I said, some of the comments in the chat that demonstrate kind of a lack of understanding of what the tournament's about. It's not a popularity contest. This is about trying to find that perfect balance between trying to achieve solidarity with the things that you want to do, trying to showcase your artistic abilities, trying to represent something as fan art, because obviously you're not the creator of these works, so trying to bring your own vision to those pieces. And yes, whether Drake Nichols wants to hear this or not, yes, folks, you have to choose things that you think will work. The strategy involved with it. if there wasn't any strategy involved with it, then it really would just be a bunch of people drawing the same things. You have to think outside of the box. Doesn't mean you're wrong for not thinking outside of the box, but you put more pressure on yourself if you get work in, in a different capacity. If you choose to put color or not put color, the options are totally up to you. That's what makes the competition so unique. What you choose to do, just like a real artwork. Therefore, you live or die by those choices. That's the whole point. So again, I hope that again, I know some people will understand it, some people won't, but ultimately, that's how we judge the competition, and that's with all the metrics we put in place. That's how the competition came about. So again, I'm really pumped and excited with the work that was done by all the creators. It wasn't easy. I think any of these guys could walk with the prize, and so I want to give a real shout out to everyone who participated. I want to talk real quickly about Summer of Manga and what that means, and of course, I want to showcase Saturday AM issue 64, which will be our final issue. So, final issue before we take a break. So we're going to be debuting that. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of that. And just give me a moment here and I'll pull that up. And again, if there are questions that I can answer within the chat, I'm more than happy to do so. As I said before, we're really, we're a small group, but we're really focused and dedicated group. And so we appreciate having the chance to talk with you guys about just the business of making comics, because it's certainly not easy. And we take a great deal of pride in the stuff that we do. So let me see here. 265. All right, so what we've got here that you guys will see here in a minute is issue 65. You'll see the cover for it, and it is amazing work yet again from the one and only White Manga. Let's see here. So it's a fantastic issue here. It's going to have, of course, Apple Black returning. We've been doing a slight recap of March Art Madness, giving people more work. So we're going to be hopefully demonstrating that very soon. And in this, you can see that in this table of contents, we have Apple Black, we have Paradise Down, one of our newest manga titles from Jaime Molina. We have March Art Madness retrospective, where we cover rounds 3 and 4. We feature some exclusive interviews with some of the creators. So if you want to learn about some of these up-and-coming creators, you can do so there. We feature Spoon, a really action-packed series from David Yoon, and then we wrap up with a brand new Bully Eater. Now, this is the final issue before we take a break. We come back the weekend of May 6th, which is Free Comic Day weekend. You're going to have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 come out. You're going to have Star Wars, the Last Jedi. The first footage of that will be released on May the 4th. And then you'll have a Free Comic Day weekend with free comics from Marvel, DC, Image, a variety of publishers, including Saturday AM with issue 66 of Saturday AM. And that will kick off something we're calling Summer of Manga. Now, Summer of Manga basically is essentially bringing to the table an opportunity for creators to have their comics included within an issue of Saturday AM. We have rules. Those rules basically are that we're looking for a minimum 15-page, maximum 30-page short story of your characters. We will approve it if it is a good story. If it's an original story, it must be exclusive to Saturday AM in terms of the contents of the story, but the characters, the comic, the idea, the character designs, that's all you. You own it. If it's something that you're already publishing on a rival website, that's okay. But the story itself that you give to us for this issue, for that issue, must be exclusive to Saturday AM. Of course, because we are a Shonen level magazine, we can't accept things that are ultra violent or ultra gratuitous in violence and or sex or characterizations of others in a way that hopefully is not too negative. We can't have those things. We certainly hope that we can get just some amazing art from really amazingly talented people. That's what we hope. Traditionally, we've had people asking us. We had it happen today, actually, from a young man from Egypt. And so we get people all the time who want to participate in Saturday AM. They want to run their stories inside of Saturday AM. And the way we've always had it set up is we do something similar to March Art Madness. We basically have them pitch us their stories. It's a once a year sort of opportunity, maybe 2 times a year. But Summer of Manga is totally different from that, because what we're basically saying to you is that if you follow the guidelines and send us your story, give us a slight pitch about what the story is so we can understand what we're reading. If we like it, we'll publish it, period. And we'll give you all the credit for it. We'll make sure that it leads people to discover your work on whatever website you may exist on. And last but not least, you'll have a chance to earn revenue with it, period. So we're really excited about this, and I hope that that we can get some of those people going. I hope that we can get as many people possible there. So that's pretty much it. Summer of Manga begins officially now. We'll be posting the rule sets for it tomorrow. And we implore you, if you have an idea that you think would be great and you think Saturday can help you get the exposure you want to get for it, or if you just want to have a chance to have your work appear at Saturday AM, this is the time, this is the opportunity. You might have the next Apple Black or Clock Striker, so we're down for it, man. So that is it. So again, I want to thank again all the 58 active participants who appeared in this year's March Art Madness. I want to thank most certainly the final 4 participants, who all of them were people who could have won this tournament outright. And Michelle Massa-Rolo, Megumi Talent, William Puker, and Bailey Bhutto. And of course, congrats to the winner, William Puker, for doing a fantastic piece. Again, just really pumped and stoked for what you guys do, and I can't wait to see what you guys cook up next. Again, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I see the chat is still going active, and again, I'm really excited to see that so many people here are excited to be able to, you guys have made some connections. Again, if you're being a dick, I kick you out of the chat, because you don't have time for people being dicks. But if you're being respectful to the artists, as it looks like some people are doing here, and hopefully people are going to check out creators like Michelle Massa-Rolo and her YouTube channel, that's awesome. And we really hope that this competition helps bring exposure to the work that Michelle does, or the work that Megumi does, the work that Bailey does, and or the work that William does. We hope that this actually does that. So that's it. I hope everyone is really pumped and excited. We're really excited as well. It's a really draining exercise, but we appreciate, again, everyone giving their time and participating in it. Really, really, really appreciate that. Thanks, everybody. I hope that I see some of you guys in participating in the Summer of Manga event. I know all you guys probably have a story in you, so this is your time, maybe. So thanks again, everyone, for supporting it. We'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Saturday issue number 65 that comes out tomorrow. If you subscribe, do so for just $5. You can get 20 issues a year of Saturday AM content, and you get content like Apple Black, Believer, Saigami, Clock Striker, and a host of other exclusive comics just to Saturday AM. So that's everybody. Thanks again for supporting us, and I hope everyone is doing well. Thanks. Take care. Yeah, Bailey, I hope you do, Bailey. I really hope you do. Good Lord, you're super talented. I hope you are going to submit something to Saturday AM. So that's it, everybody. Take care. Thanks again. And again, we will be back next year. We may be back before next year, but you will see more March Art Madness. You'll be seeing more art competitions, and you will see more prizes, financial giveaways to people who participate in this type of art contest. Thanks. Take care.